Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. This is my instant match reaction to Scotland losing 2-0 to the Czech Republic. A really gutting result in a game that makes it so hard for Scotland to get out of this group. I think ultimately, if you can get 4 points, you're fine, aren't you? You're going to finish at the very least one of the fourth best third place teams. Try and say that 5 times. So this game was just a real massive one. And I've got to be honest, look, so Scotland fans, you're obviously gutted. I get why you're gutted. I'm gutted too. I do look at that Czech Republic game. I do look at that Croatia game and I just think, I do wonder if there's something you can get from that. The next game, as you guys know, I'm half English, half Scottish, so I'm not really going to enjoy the game on Friday. And what I've really wanted was Scotland to win so that both teams had 3 points and then they could both draw, both get through. I don't have to really, pick a side. But Scotland didn't do that. And let me know in the comments below, Scotland fans, how are you guys feeling? Because when I look at the stats, I thought it would be that way. It was one where Scotland in the first half, I wouldn't say dominated at all. I would say it was really even in the first half of the game. And you knew it was going to come down to a few moments. And then once that kind of first goal went in, I really was watching it thinking Scotland need that first goal. And I think in any game that Scotland play, if they want to win the game, they can't concede more than 1 goal. Because down the other end, there's not really the quality to score the goals. And in terms of these two teams, I think, look, Lyndon Dykes plays for my team, QPR. He's had a really good second half of the season, and everyone was talking about that. The reason they were all talking about that is because he scored goals, but because he's been playing with Austin up top. To have Charlie Austin up there with you, you've got someone who kind of relieves that pressure of the goal scoring a little bit, and also it allows him to do the best elements of his game, which is to win headers and to bring in other members of the team. So doing the preview the other day, we were talking about the way that Scotland would play, and there were a few options for them to play. Now the way that they played wasn't wrong, but it might not have been what I would have put forward. I haven't got the So they went with Jack Hendry, who had a really good game against the Dutch, got himself a goal, does look really comfortable on the ball. But McTominay in the qualifiers, he played in that role there. And I understand why you want to get McTominay in midfield, because he's probably your best midfielder. But for me, what happened there was that you didn't really have anyone kind of ignite stuff on the right-hand side. I thought O'Donnell was really poor, despite his sofa score here. I thought on that right-hand side, it was very tentative, very nervous on that right-hand side with Jack Hendry and O'Donnell. And O'Donnell just didn't really offer anything going forward. There was a moment when he got in the way of Ryan Christie, when he'd made a little burst through. And what you had with McTominay when he played on the right side of that back three is that you had a player who could kind of come through. And also, it kind of allowed you to have your sort of neat players in midfield. Callum McGregor came on in this game. I would have loved to have seen him start. Again, I understand it, but McTominay kind of came on, and from the position that he played in, he didn't have the freedom to be a box-to-box midfielder because that was supposedly John McGinn's role. John McGinn, I thought, was quite poor as well. But generally, in terms of playing through the midfield, Scotland didn't really do anything. And I felt like if you'd played McTominay on that right-hand side and allowed him to sort of drive forward with the ball, I think we might have had a bit more going forward. I think that was the big thing for me. In the first half, it was really tight. And now at the end of all of this, we're looking at a game where they got the first goal. And then what I do like is Clark made the change and he said, get Che Adams on up top with Lyndon Dykes. And you saw the difference straight away. Lyndon Dykes is so much more impressive when he's got someone there with him, in my opinion. And they started to get chances. But then, and again, Jack Hendry's going to get a lot of stick for coming out with the ball and having that shot. And yes, it's probably an inexperienced decision. It's one where, you think down the years, Vincent Kompany scoring that goal against Leicester City. He bangs it because he's like, why not? And Jack Hendry hits the bar in this game. So it was one of those where like that could go a completely different way. And I just thought Scotland were luckless in this game, like throughout. You think of that chance that Callas for Czech Republic was brilliant. That was going to be a real moment in the game, or a battle in the game. I thought Lyndon Dykes versus Callas, 2 championship players battling it out, and I think Callas overall, won that battle in terms of winning a lot of the headers. Lyndon Dykes will be disappointed with the output that he had in terms of his overall play, and then of course missing a couple of chances. I think he's missed one big chance, and this is another thing that people will go after him for. And again, it's one of those where if you watch that clip back, it's very late when he has that moment to take that snapshot. And the difference between Lyndon Dykes and not Shea Adams, because Shea Adams is a really good striker, but he's not your, like Nisbet's probably more of a sort of like poacher. But let's talk about Charlie Austin. The difference, if that falls to someone like Charlie Austin, regardless of the level that you're playing at, he hits it to the left into that corner. Lyndon Dykes, you're getting so much more from him, but you're getting a little less when it comes to that finishing ability. So in his mind, when that ball comes across to him, he thinks, get it on target. Not hit it in the corner. He thinks, get it on target. And that means that Vatlic, I think it was, the goalkeeper, he's just about able to get it with his foot. You can call it unlucky. You can call it about quality. I think that's the fairness when it comes to this. There's a reason why Lyndon Dykes is playing in the Championship, and he's had an incredible story. But in those moments, that's the difference. You know, when that ball comes in and Schick gets that header on it, it's, you know, it is levels above. And then that chance for the goal, I mean, that's a joke, to be honest. That's like an absolute joke that he scored from 50 yards. Only Scotland will spend this long not getting to major tournaments, then get to a major tournament and then concede a goal to a 50-yard strike. It was outrageous. It was genius. But it was also inside his own, well, I mean, it was just inside the opposition's half. So again, there's kind of elements of really bad luck here for Scotland. So that's what I'm gutted about, is that I don't think they deserve to lose. I think you could maybe say it was a draw, and you could say in terms of these stats, maybe some of them are a little bit more padded, because once that second goal goes in, Czech Republic know what they need to do. They just need to defend for their lives, and they'll be all right. But to have 0.18, and I think I've seen elsewhere, it's over 2 in terms of expected goals. And for the opposite, for you to have 0.8 and for you to score 2 goals and for Scotland not to score a single goal, I think is tough. You know, tough to take. 11 block shots as well, I think is a really great marker for Czech Republic. I think they should be delighted with that. The centre-backs were absolutely brilliant for them as Scotland went on and on and on. And I'll tell you what, I've got to say, it just felt a very lopsided Scotland side. Andrew Robertson was just on a different planet in terms of any other player on the pitch. But when you haven't got Kieran Tierney, what a miss that is. From an attacking point of view, like, you know, I was talking about it with England. They want to create those same overloads, and that's fine. But without Kieran Tierney in the team, you don't have that dovetailing, and that's a massive, massive loss for Scotland going forward. So it was going to be a tight game. They were going to kind of huff and puff, and you were hoping that they would have a couple of moments and they would take their chances. I've also got to say, Scott McTominay should definitely have a penalty in the first half. Do not understand how that's happened, how he's not got that. It's almost like, you know, he's dribbled past the guy. It's only because there's so many other bodies there that he doesn't get that penalty. So that's really, you know, harsh on them as well. Yeah, just massively luckless, I think. You know, luckless and a lack of quality, which is, I guess, is the easy thing to go to when it is Scotland, because that's the, you know, the inexperienced squad that they've got. But it's just one of those things. And the thing that is a real killer for them is that, you know, how do you kind of recover from that? I think there was such a wave of optimism, and having that Czech Republic game, even a draw would have kind of kept that wind in the sails. But that second goal, you know, Darren Fletcher said something which I think is a really good point, is that they didn't give up. They kept going. The problem they have as well is that the way that the style of play that they have is it's almost kind of, they retreat into this back three and pass it around and kind of control the game and control possession, so that they're not kind of hurt until they're set to go and attack and try and get these good crosses in. But what happened was, when you were 2-0 down, it then gets a little bit frustrating because the same things are happening again. I'd like to see, I don't think Jack Hendry played that bad. Is it Jack? Sorry, yeah, Jack Hendry played that bad. I just think that what I wanted to see was the exact same style of play as the Serbia game, because Scotland pressed. They really, really pressed. And I think you saw the best out of the likes of John McGinn. And you saw the best out. I mean, that's the other sucker punch with this, is that McLean's not in this team. And so that would have been another player that you could bring in to allow it all to kind of happen a bit better. But I don't think that's one thing I was disappointed with Scotland as much as the, you know, missed chances, is that where was the pressing? I didn't feel like that kind of pressure was there. And I think they should have done that a lot more. Overall, you know, I don't think Clark did make any real big mistakes. I think it was a matter of elements of bad luck, opportunism from Schick, and missed chances from Scotland, and that element of bad luck of not having Kieran Tierney in that team. You need absolutely every class player to be playing class. And McTominay for me didn't really do that. McGinn didn't really do that for me. Armstrong's one of those players who kind of fits in those little pockets. He didn't really get on the ball enough. And down on that right-hand side, it feels really, really weak with O'Donnell in an attacking sense. And look, going into the England game and the Croatia game, I wonder if there is something there for them, certainly in the Croatia game, because they will be able to kind of defend deeper and then maybe be able to do stuff on the counter-attack and maybe play, you know, Che Adams and Lyndon Dykes up top together and just allow them to kind of get on with it. Because I think that's the thing, is that without Robertson, there truly was very little threat. And I think that came down to the fact that there wasn't that same level of chemistry that has been in the qualifying games. And again, I think that was kind of down to pushing McTominay forward a little bit. I know it sounds ridiculous because he is a great midfielder, but you've also got Gilmour, who could have maybe got involved a little bit more. And I think they could have gone for the throat a little bit more with Czech Republic. I think in terms of playing good football, they were the better team, really. It was just a lot of crosses coming in for the Czech Republic. But they got that first goal, huge to get that first goal, and then they got one hell of a second goal, unbelievable. Yeah, absolute killer for Scotland. That I think that the fear is now that, you know, if you're a Scotland fan, you play England, you get pumped at Wembley, and then you're already kind of out of it all, and the confidence is just completely drained. Massive, massive, massive defeat. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I think it's, like I say, I think it's down to being clinical, and they weren't. Let me know what you think, Scottish fans. Let me know in the comments below. If you're watching for the very first time, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. We'll be doing the Fallout very, very soon, so make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter so that you can get involved and get your questions in. And I'll see you next time on the James Norris Allcott channel.